To solve this data sufficiency question, we'll consider each statement separately first and then together if needed. Before diving into the statements, let's go ahead and take a look at the information we're given from the question. We're also given this graph, a circle graph actually, where we have that the entire thing represents the total employees for the 5 branches of company X. The 5 branches being A, B, C, D, and E. Now it doesn't matter exactly what they represent, but we do know that the entire circle represents, or actually has 360 degrees in it. And this is slightly different than a pie chart because we're not automatically given percentages for each of the 5 branches here. But if we were given percentages, that'd be really nice since we can treat it as a pie chart. Part of the difficulty of a circle graph is that we could represent these different portions in terms of a percentage of the entire chart, pie chart. But we would need to know these angles. We're not given specifically any angles yet. We are told, however, that the total amount of employees are 2,400. So let's just jot that around here. The total is 2,400 so we don't forget. Now we're asked for how many employees work for branch D. So we're looking for kind of how many are in this category over here. Now, in order to find the number of employees for branch D, we need to know the percentage for this slice of our circle graph. So if we did know the percentage of what our branch D represents in terms of this big kind of total company, we can multiply that percentage by 2,400 to be able to get our number of employees. Now our percentage is going to be represented by how many degrees we have out of 360 degrees. So if we're looking for the number of employees for branch D, that's going to equal 2,400 times the percentage of that category. And we said that percentage is going to be W, the degrees for D, that sliver, divided by 360. And that would actually represent the percentage that our slice D represents. So in order to actually find this number, all we need to know is W. If we know W, we'll be able to find the number of employees for branch D. Now there's a couple ways that we could find W, right? Either we're given blatantly the number for W, or we're told the sum of all of the other categories, or some sort of ratio relating our D, finding our W. So let's go ahead and let's dive into our statements. Let's consider statement 1 first. And I'll look over here. Statement 1, we're told together branch B and C have 4 times as many employees as branch D. Now, branch B and C having 4 times as many employees as branch D, we can write an equation for that representing those, but we're not told how many employees either branch C and or branch B have. So even if we write an equation representing how many employees for this statement, we can translate that into an equation. It would be an equation of 3 variables, right? It would involve our variable of the number of employees for B, the number of employees for C, and how many employees for D. So in order to find that employees for D, we would need to know how many are for C and how many are for B. And we're just not given that amount of information here. So it's not worth it trying to interpret that into an equation. We're just not given enough information to do anything with it. So statement 1 alone is not sufficient, and we can eliminate answer choice B and D. And we can move on to statement 2. Statement 2, we're given that W equals 54. And we wrote down before that if we know W, we could plug it in here, find the percentage that kind of portion represents for our circle graph, and multiply that by 2,400, and the result will give us our employees for D. So this statement alone is sufficient. We know W, we can find the percentage that D represents, and thus we can find the number of employees for D. So statement 2 alone is sufficient. We can eliminate answer choice C and E, and the final answer will be answer choice B. Statement 2 alone is sufficient, but statement 1 alone is not sufficient.